short as possible. I'm not so sure how fast I will be, but we'll try to reduce, we'll try to go through your photos very fast. Opposite as me, I will start with my ego trip, although I didn't think about it at all. So, afterwards I will go to the curatorial practice, but we'll start with my artistic practice, and it will be very short. What I do right now is more or less generative art. I have a software running on the internet which generates images out of the content you could find in the internet. So this was what you see is the photo session we did a few months ago. All those are not photos, but the project is supposed to be in May in Tallinn, also European Capital of Culture. Curatorial practice, and the first project I wanted to show is called Migrating Chirality, and we did it, there were 2 sessions actually, plus a book, and the internet journal, which was running in cooperation with Beaux and Mindaugas Gapsevicius, who is running now Nida art colony, so you could check the output of the project. And I have another book I will be talking about later, Migrating Art Academies, so you could check it out if you haven't seen yesterday. Very briefly, the Migrating Chirality project was the beginning of my migrating projects, and the first conference and exhibition was organized in Berlin, and then we had another set of workshops and exhibition also in Berlin, which was already a cooperation with Migrating Art Academies. The idea of those migrating projects was like not really focusing on migration in common sense, but of course we also didn't want to exclude the people migration from the project, and we conceptualized it more like in relation with Lithuania, could be also migrant communities, but we didn't focus on migration. What we were focusing on was digital analog migration, or from outdated softwares migration into the new operational systems. Could be migration of birds, could be any sort of migrations. So this was the beginning of our migrating projects. What you see here is also a piece of mine, a short trip to my ego. In this case, I meant migration of data from one computer to another, or in this case, I had a hub which was connecting all computers, actually one computer, but all computers in the local network, and what you was able to see on the monitors was the migration from one computer to another, or from one server to another. Shortly about the first project, Migrating Chiralities, and as I said, Migrating Chiralities the second one, Migrating Chiralities, and the first one, Migrating Art Academies, were done in parallel, and both of the projects were merged in a way. And the first Migrating Academies and the second Migrating Chirality was called Regime. Before starting showing the images from Regime, I'll just briefly say, if you didn't hear yesterday, that the cooperation, Migrating Art Academies is a cooperation between art schools, art universities in France, Germany and Lithuania, Academy of Art in Vilnius, École Européenne Supérieure de l'Image à Poitiers, Angoulême, and Kunsthochschule für Medien in Cologne, a well-known school for media arts. While working on this project, we got unbelievable amount of, not unbelievable, but quite a bit of other organizations who joined the project in between, like art schools, universities, and NGOs. And later on, when I will stop presenting shortly the Migrating Art Academies, what we had, we'll start talking about future. So, Migrating Art Academies, as we had already 5 laboratories in total, was financed by European Commission, and the project is over right now, and we are, I think, at the end of writing all reports and sending all financial expenditures to Brussels. The first laboratory, there were 5 laboratories. The first laboratory was called Regime, and it was very tough. Students were living in the gallery space, which was 80 square meters. 14 students were living in the gallery space. And working together and doing event exhibition. All the workshop took like 1 week long, and as you see, people sleeping in between. Those are moments from the first laboratory Regime. Those are students who took part. The second laboratory was already the real Migrating Art Academies project. In a way, it was conceptualized. The project was based actually on leaving the schools, leaving the buildings, and doing arts on the move, on the road. We were able to, thanks to the European Commission, we were able to rent caravans, or as we call media RVs, media recreational vehicles. Each school had one Europe and doing different sorts of arts. We wanted students to work more with new kind of technologies and doing in between technical stuff. Wanted to give students a possibility to work with technical technology while being not in the building, not stuck to the building, like giving opportunity to use internet access while driving the cars, giving GPS tools, sets of sensors, computers, giving everything. The vans worked perfectly for the work online and while being outside the habitual situations, like being in the schools. So the first trip was linking different cities and also linked Berlin and Cologne, Vilnius and Nida, different cities, because students were driving their vans and it was not very difficult to be during one seminar or workshop or laboratory in different cities. This photo is in Berlin, seminar at William Flusser Archives. William Flusser was sort of maître poncet of a project, and the first seminar was done in William Flusser Archives in Berlin, University of Arts in Berlin. Those are our media RVs, caravans, so vans we drove during our laboratories. This photo is in Vilnius Academy of Arts. We had very nice photos done from one of the most known photographer, T.R.A.C.E.S, with old machines from 18th century, I believe. The photo is in the book, I think, at the beginning of the book. The black and white photo. These are our campers. Students are working. A group photo. One of the projects of the students. The Vienna team. Snapshots from the exhibition. We had, during each laboratory, we had an exhibition. In this case, the exhibition was in the train station, in the Vilnius train station, and we found it somehow very conceptual and fitting into the project thematic migration, exhibiting our stuff in the train station. The third laboratory was organized on the way and to Linz and in between cities, but the most important was trip to Linz to Ars Electronica. We gave our students a chance, a possibility to participate in a well-known festival for media and technology, for media arts and technology. And during 1 week we were doing seminars, and at the very end we did an exhibition. performance in the night behind the caravan you see Ars Electronica building. And we were using our caravans for projections. And here you see also the guy performing the guitar, analog guitar. And we were streaming, all the events were also streamed online, broadcast for the world, and this is a screenshot from the incoming visuals from the Ars Electronica festival. Students were doing also different kind of things, also meditating in the nature, driving, always driving, and recording stuff. So also in the Linz, okay. This was the fourth laboratory towards Royan. Bordeaux, Lyon, and Giron, Estonie. They had also a very nice exhibition in Royan at the T.R.A.C.E. Gallery. Performance. As I said, quite a bit of things were done in relation with technology. In this case, a student from KHM is fixing his webcam onto the balloon and leaving the balloon going up to the heaven and taking the visuals from the webcam right into the computer over the wireless networks. Performance. And this was already the last laboratory thing organized in Collegium Hungaricum in Berlin. Very fancy house, very nice house, and nice people working. And we are really glad having the possibility to install the exhibition in this house. Also quite conceptual thing, we were installing the exhibition in the, how it's called, in the staircase to have a stronger conceptual idea of transition and peace outside. This is a building, some pieces inside. Yeah, so this was the last laboratory so far we had funded with European Commission, or with the help of European Commission, and we are approaching laboratories. Also a part of T.R.A.C.E.S will be organized in Nida Art Colony. We call it couch surfing. The idea came of having a project based on the low budget things and linked to the idea when people go hitchhiking or having cheap flights going to our schools and taking seminars. So this upcoming laboratory will be based on this couchsurfing idea, and with this couchsurfing idea, I hope the project will continue. And a few words about Interformat, which is T.R.A.C.E.S project supposed to be beginning of May in Nida. We conceptualized it as Interformat, trying to reinvent presentation and discussion or seminar or workshop, whatever format could be, but reinvent and to make it differently, because most of us do different things like curating and doing practice, etc. And in order to have more visibility for T.R.A.C.E.S project, we made it open call for residency and for participating in the seminar. And we were really glad having like approximately 40 applications from all over the world, Europe, America, whatever. And we chose together with the help of Jody some artists, and shortly maybe I will show you 5 artists. This was an idea what Interformat could be, sort of sound thing, but I will not go deeper into this idea. The first artist we chose is from France and T.R.A.C.E.S. He will be doing tea circles and serving tea and collecting different flora in the Coronian spit and making the map and doing tea from the local flora.
It's a smell map, yeah, he's making.
Yeah, also, right. Another project from Hannah Hasberg. She's working with different sort of new ideas, and in this case, at the moment she's working with better modifications, and she sent some photos, and in this case you see a photo, a project of Fuller. Forgot his first name. Yeah, right. Very cool project. The idea how to make New York safe from any atmosphere disease or whatever. Another artist, Bassetti, is also different kind of coming from Spain and T.R.A.C.E.S and living in Berlin. A very transitory artist. She will be working with bathtubs, etc., and trying to link flora with whatever could be wax surfaces. One more artist is Canadian-American, living in Tallinn, also from different kind of places. Justin, he will be doing hut, installing, I think, like next week, and will be coming and performing with the hut. One more Russian artist working with simple electronics. The project she will do is captures from the objects she will find around the colony. And we will have one more artist from Tallinn. He's educator and artist Denis. And also Totilis will be doing something in Nida. And shortly he will explain what he will be doing, or he was